It was a murder that changed the town.
You know, you're telling a real story of real heroism.
I don't know if any other city in the country's ever been that bad. It's outrageous. They just did it and got away with it.
It's not a small operation. It was a large operation, and especially for that time and for that place, it was a very well-organized group of thugs.
On the Alabama side of the Chattahoochee River, across from Columbus, Georgia, and Fort Benning, lies a sleepy little town that was once known as the wickedest city in America.
These are paratroopers in the making. At Fort Benning, they're undergoing the training that will make them the toughest, most alert soldiers in the world. This is American manhood at its finest. The men who get their fustest with the mostest.
In the 1930s, thousands of troops poured into Fort Benning as talk of war spread.
They went to Phenix City where you could buy mixed drinks. They went to Phenix City where you could gamble. Phenix City was exciting. It was notorious. That appeals to a lot of people.
Jimmy Matthews was a young English immigrant who crossed the river each day from Phenix City to Fort Benning to wash soldiers' uniforms. Jimmy played cards with the soldiers on payday. In a short time, he had saved up over 25 times more than he would have made by doing laundry. Hoyt Shepard was a cotton mill worker who came to Phenix City with big ambitions. He and Jimmy Matthews eventually found each other, probably over a drink and a game of cards. They formed the S&M Syndicate, providing gambling equipment to other businesses, as well as marked cards and loaded dice.
Hoyt liked power, Jimmy liked money. Jimmy was never one to be out there aggressively calling shots, and Hoyt would take charge in a minute and had sort of similar folks around him.
They opened the Ritz Cafe and operated an illegal lottery, commonly referred to as the Bug.
I used to take my lunch money that I had to go to school and buy lottery tickets with it. I guess there were probably 15 nightclubs and gambling establishments offering every type of gambling that you could think of. There were probably 8 or 10 houses of prostitution, 2 lottery companies operating, and literally thousands of slot machines all over town.
Phenix City was as dangerous as it was exciting. Soldiers were drugged, beaten, cheated, and murdered. In 1940, while General George Patton trained the 2nd Armored Division at Fort Benning, he threatened to drive a tank across the bridge and flatten Phenix City. By 1945, it became official. Even the United States Secretary of War, Henry Stimson, described Phenix City as the wickedest city in America. Hoyt and Jimmy's Ritz Cafe became a popular destination for people looking to get rich quick off the Bug.
The Bug was playing the lottery, and the people who lived there in Phenix City, they always hoped that maybe one of those lottery tickets was going to catapult them into richness. And one Saturday, 100 people pushed into this place.
So many people crowded into that building to collect on their winnings that day that the building collapsed. My father taking us to ride by there where it had happened, it was demolished.
24 people were killed and 83 people were injured in one of the biggest disasters ever to hit Phenix City. Witnesses refused to testify that any illegal activity took place at the Ritz Cafe that day. Hoyt and Jimmy branched out into bigger ventures.
The second step in an organized criminal operation is to leave the illegal activity and drift into with your ill-gotten gains, get into the legitimate businesses and legitimate functions of the town, and pretty soon they're blended together and you can't tell one from another, you know. And they were doing that.
Tax money was coming in, the sheriff's getting paid money out of this, the city's getting operating cash out of this, it's paying the salaries of the judges, it's helping to run the police department, it's funding the roads, schools are getting money. I mean, this whole thing was a cash machine, cash cow.
You know, they just accepted that as a way of life. And what happened is, over a period of time, your officials got corrupted through the money that came from those sources.
The combination of politics and mob money, or the machine as it came to be known, determined who got elected in Phenix City.
Albert Patterson, who was a very tough man who was a member of the state senate. He had been in the state senate in Alabama and had served, I think, with some distinction as a state senator, and obviously had had the support of the Phenix City machine, or he wouldn't have been a state senator.
Like many others looking for work during the Depression, Albert Patterson came to Phenix City because that's where the money was.
In 1933, Daddy was practicing law in Alexander City, Alabama, which we considered home, you know. Lawyers were having a hard time making a living in 1933. That was the height of the Depression for us. But he got to looking around, and somebody told him, said, why don't you look at Phenix City? When we came to Phenix City, Hugh Bentley was a well-known citizen then, and he had Bentley Sporting Goods Company over on Broad Street in Columbus, and he furnished all of the uniforms for the high school football teams and everything. He was a big operator.
Mr. Bentley had a great personality, and I knew him as a kid. I went to the same church that he did, and he was real active in religious circles and civic circles locally. He came from a very poor home, a poor background, and he had gone to business school, and he was kind of a self-made person.
Hugh's family ran a grocery store that doubled as a pickup spot for illegal lottery tickets. His father enjoyed the company of the gamblers and criminals that hung around there.
His mother was a dedicated woman, and he saw the courage that she had to get out of a bad situation. So she kept saying that his father should not have anything to do with these people. He told her to mind her own business. If she didn't like it, she could take those 7 kids and leave. So she did, which was an extraordinary thing back in the early 1900s.
Bentley found that life was real exciting and that he enjoyed every minute of it. If you knew him and knew his background and all, you just marveled how far he'd come and how well he had done.
Although his business thrived in Columbus, his roots were across the river. So at the end of every business day, Hugh came home to Phenix City. By the time World War II ended, Phenix City was hooked on easy money from the nightclubs, gambling joints, and prostitution. Seemed like everyone had a hand in the rackets,